Madam Speaker, we've heard a lot about self-determination today, but let's put that to the smell test. The options that the Democrats are presenting to the Puerto Rican people don't include the most obvious choice to remain as a Commonwealth. So if you prefer the status quo, you're completely out of luck. The Democrats have already decided you're not allowed to vote for that. That's not self-determination. That's rigging an election. Now, if none of the three options the Democrats have chosen for you gets 50%, then there's a runoff, even if the option dropped was the clear second choice of voters. And a narrow transient majority seems to be the most likely, since the November 2020 plebiscite scored just 52.5% in favor of statehood, 47.5% opposed, with just 53% turning out to vote. And completely ignored is the right of all the American people to discuss and decide so momentous and irreversible a question as this. Statehood would mean that the next reapportionment, other states will lose a total of 4 seats in the House of Representatives in order to accommodate the Puerto Rican delegation. Only about 20% of the population is fluent in English, which means that we would be admitting a state whose vast majority is isolated from the national political debate that is central to our democracy. Nor will statehood solve Puerto Rico's economic problems. Residents would now have to pay all federal income taxes from which they're currently exempt. The GAO estimates that would cost Puerto Rico 70% of its existing manufacturing base. And there's not even a CBO estimate of the cost to American taxpayers of admitting a chronically mismanaged and utterly bankrupt state government. The economy of Puerto Rico is expected to underperform the national economy, which is itself a disaster. For American taxpayers, it would mean a new state that has the lowest per capita income in the country and the largest per capita debt. Its labor participation rate is 40% compared to 62% nationally. 43% of the population lives below the poverty line. Its academic performance would be the worst in the nation. So, how does it benefit America to admit a state that will be the most indebted, uneducated, poorest, and least employed state in the nation? And we don't get to consider that question because under this bill, Congress gets no further say in the matter once Puerto Rico has voted. That makes it a blanket abrogation of the responsibility of Congress to make these decisions in the best interests of all of the people of the United States. Whichever of the three options is chosen would be automatically enacted without any further debate or decision by Congress. It hands the constitutional authority reserved for the welfare of the entire nation to the hands of what would be a narrow and transient majority in Puerto Rico. The only debate in Congress on Puerto Rican statehood is the debate that we are having right now, when the nation's oblivious to the legislation or its implications. Our constituents will awaken across the country to the realization of a fait accompli that was quickly rushed through the very last days of session, with no opportunity for national debate on the implications of taking such a profound and permanent change in the fabric of our nation. This is as cynical as it gets. If the motion to recommit is adopted, I will introduce an amendment that will require the question to be returned to the House for a full national debate on such a momentous issue and require a 2/3 vote to assure a broad bipartisan consensus. And I'd ask for unanimous consent to insert the text of the amendment in the record immediately prior to the vote on the motion to recommit.